Alright, so I finally watched Suzume, and yes, I know this film originally came out like 2 years ago, but if I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even think I was gonna watch it to begin with. Because I only watched this movie since it was on the plane. So for context, I recently just got back from a trip to Japan, and on my 12-hour flight back, I saw Suzume on the movie player, so I decided, why not? I'm probably not gonna watch it if I don't do it now anyways. So now you guys have to bear with my dumpster fire opinions. Also, I'm not really a movie guy, especially anime movies. Like, the only other Shinkai film I watched was Your Name, which I actually really enjoyed. So if I liked Your Name so much, then how was Suzume? Well, Suzume starts off by introducing our main girl, Suzume, who lives in a small countryside town in Kyushu with her aunt. She then bumps into this guy named Solta, who came to Kyushu to look for ruins and abandoned places for some reason. Sounds pretty sus, but I mean, if you're into that, pop off, king. However, it turns out that these ruins and abandoned areas Solta is looking for house these doors which connect to the ever after world. Basically, it's the afterlife. And Solta's job as a closer is to close these doors so that this freaky worm doesn't escape and cause life-threatening earthquakes. Suzume then learns about the doors and the freaky worm, and we transition into a coming-of-age story as our girl decides to team up with Solta and travel across Japan to close more doors. Also, for some reason, Solta gets cursed by this cat Daijin and turns into a chair. How convenient. The first half of the movie sets up the overall tone of the story, revealing two contrasting sides. One where there's a threat to humanity that the main characters must resolve, and a more lighthearted side where we meet some of the locals in different prefectures. The latter half being some of my favorite moments, as even though there was this looming world-ending disaster scenario, these innocent people knew none the wiser and lived their daily lives, showing off some of the more heartwarming moments in the story. The premise of Suzume actually really hooked me to begin with, cause as a weeb and as weebs do, I've been wanting to travel across Japan myself, which I did just that before watching the movie. How fitting. So the fact that they showed off many places that maybe aren't well-known tourist spots and more in the countryside really interested me. Hey, can we turn this plane back? I got places I still gotta see. But also, if you've watched the movie, you may have also noticed some of the places Suzume and Solta visited are also victims of big earthquakes. Kobe, Tokyo, Tohoku. It's these references that I thought were implemented super well in the story. In combination with its focus on memories, harnessing the memories of the areas where the doors are to seal them, it really emphasizes a message of how when they close the doors with the memories of the past, they let the past stay in the past so people can move forward, and they prevent earthquakes so people don't have to experience these traumatic events again. Unfortunately, this is really all I liked about Suzume, and while I liked the overall message, what really put me off from liking this film more was probably just Solta getting turned into a chair. It might honestly even be a bit of a nitpick, but I really think that this devalued Solta's importance, which is kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, this places much more importance on Suzume to do the heavy lifting. While I feel this may have been done intentionally to put Suzume in the spotlight, after all, she's the namesake of the movie, I can't help but feel like Solta is more of a comedic device than an actual character. I just don't think we learned enough about Solta in the movie, but this may just be me. Turning him into this inanimate object also didn't help at all because it took away the ability for Solta to express himself. And even from an animation aspect, he's being restricted in a way that doesn't allow him the chance to freely move and emote. Which I get that's the point of the story, I just think it kind of harmed his image overall. And it may sound like I'm just grilling Solta right now, but it's not all bad because it does make the movie feel a little more lighthearted. Ultimately, the story handles sensitive topics like earthquakes, which may open up bad memories, especially for Japanese people. And this might just be a way for them to combat that by adding some humorous parts to it, which I understand. I just think it would have been way better if the story was solely about the two main characters closing doors and explaining more about the significance of different areas and just talking to more of the locals in each area. Maybe if Suzume and Solta continued their journey together, which would allow for more moments where the two are together. That could then help to develop Solta fixing the aforementioned critiques I had. Then this leads up to a huge hype moment at the end where he does turn back to a human and Suzume can fight her past and trauma. It's just the story took a very sudden shift and that left a bad taste in my mouth, and it definitely wasn't just because of the earthplane food. Overall, it wasn't bad, and I actually thought it was really interesting with the messaging and how they reference some of these earthquake locations, some more subtly than others. But I wish Suzume and Solta's relationship was just a little more defined and that they got to spend more time together, so maybe we could learn more about other regions in Japan. If I was given more options of anime films to watch, Suzume probably wouldn't be my first pick. And also personally, it didn't have the emotional impact that Your Name did, but maybe someone else did. At least I can say I gave it a try, and hey, maybe after Suzume, I'll go try some other anime films in the future.